Welcome to Totally Electric, where I drive and test and talk about all sorts of electric cars. And today we have one of my favorite little cars in the world, and that is the MG4. And it's my favorite because it is a relatively small electric car. It is 4.3 meters long, 4.28 exactly. And it has a relatively big battery, 64 kilowatt hours in this case, 204 horsepower, which is plenty for a small car like this. It's fun to drive, it's comfortable, it's got pretty good range on it. So far I've been driving for about 2 hours. I've done 222 kilometers and I still have 35% energy left in the battery. So perfect for road tripping like this. I mean, it'll easily do 300 to 350 kilometers between stops, which is what I'm planning to do today. I sort of can't do much more because I gotta pee anyway, so there's that. And it's useless to have a car with longer range in my case anyway. I'm driving from Madrid to Barcelona. That's a total of 604 kilometers, and I plan on doing 3 stops initially by having looked at a better route planner before I left home. The trick for road tripping is to charge when you have a very low state of charge on your battery, because then it'll charge faster. If you stop and charge from 60% or 50% upwards, all you'll get is just a slower charge rate. So let's keep going. I'm driving at 120 kilometers now. As you can see it here, it's about 121. I've put this to 122 on the actual car, but the GPS it's 120. But honestly, I'm driving mostly for comfort, so I might go a little bit faster, a little bit slower. It's a real life road trip, not a hardcore test I'm doing today. The car is great to drive. It's easy, it's comfortable. I've got Apple CarPlay, which is great because I can use Waze so I don't get a fine for driving. However, there's one thing I do want to complain about. If I go out in the car's menu and I go into the navigation system, if I were to use the car's inbuilt navigation system, it does not help me to find charge points en route. So it has a way to search for charge points, but it'll only search for charge points that are where I am right now, which doesn't help me at all for planning a trip. So if I'm at home and I use it and I search for where to charge, it's going to tell me the ones that are close to where I am, not the ones that are close to where I'm going to need it, which is en route. So that's stupid. Honestly, GPS inbuilt in the car that knows the state of charge of your battery, that knows how much you are consuming while driving, should absolutely 100% be able to tell you where and when to stop and for how long. I mean, it has the database of charge points into it, and it's got an internet connection. Come on, MG, figure it out for me. Now I actually have to figure it out using third-party apps, or even planning it before I leave home, which I don't want to do because I don't like planning. I just like filling up my car and driving. So that could definitely improve. So I am arriving at the Ionity charger here, and it's my first time charging in this particular station. I wonder if there's a restroom or something there. That's honestly what I'm most worried about. Right, I see them. Here we go. 2 Ionity chargers. They're like 320 kilowatts or something ridiculous like that. So it should be plenty. So we've been driving for 2.5 hours. We've done 274 kilometers. That's 107 kilometers an hour at average, and spend 18.1 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. I've got 21% left on the battery, so I could keep going quite a while still, but my bladder can't. So let's get out, charge and discharge, if you know what I mean. Let's go for it. You know what I like? I like that there is no key. Well, there is a key, but I don't have to start and stop the car. It just does it. That's very good. So I started charging, and it's right now charging at 60 kilowatts. I don't know if that's the maximum power. It might go up, it might not. See, it just connected easily, go straight for it. I'm doing the wee walk because I really need to go find a bathroom right now. Yeah, there you go, 95 kilowatts. That's what I'm talking about. 122, 125. Yes, come on. I try to stand still, but I really can't. Car's charging like a champ. I mean, now it says 120. Literally 30 seconds ago, it was 133. In 6 minutes, we put 14 kilowatt hours into this battery. We're now at 42%. Great little charging champion we've got here. Like it. I like it. we don't need to stop more than, I don't know, 15 minutes to keep going. So here we are. We have just now charged to 74%, 2% more than what it said on a better route planner. We've been here for 24 minutes. Should have been here for 22. I think I can stomach 2 minutes extra. Still fine. Still charging at nearly 50 kilowatts. Car's doing great. Let's get going. So as always when road tripping, you have to limit yourself, and you don't have to actually charge to 100%. The last, 25 to 30%, they're not really worth waiting for. It'll take this car as long to charge from 80 to 100 as it does from 0 to 80. So you might as well unplug once you reach 70 to 80%. More stops, but shorter stops is better than these long ones that, completely break your rhythm. It's nice to drive this car. It's got some pickup as well, 204 horsepower. That's not too bad. I remember my first car was an Opel Astra diesel with 90 horsepower. Power, as Clarkson would say. This one has twice that power, and it's electric power, so it's instant torque, which is much more fun. All right, we're back on the highway. Catch you a little bit later. All right, I am arriving at my next charger. I've now done a total of 450 kilometers, and that means that I've done 175 kilometers since last stop. And I could drive on. I mean, I'm okay to drive on for, I don't know, another half hour or an hour or so, but the car does need a charge. Okay, so here we are at another Ionity charger. As you can see, it's charging at 138 kilowatts, which is great. 20%, I arrived here with 14%, and in 2 minutes we've charged this, 6-7 kilowatts, or 6-7% already. All right, I have arrived at my hotel. I've done 595 kilometers in, according to this, 5 hours and 50 minutes. Now, I've actually taken 6.5 hours to do this, so I've been charging for a total of 40 minutes, which was 2 short charging stops of 20 minutes each, which is fine. I mean, maybe it's a little bit longer than I naturally would have stopped, but it's no big deal, right? Still good. Cars consumed 19.4 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, which is the same as 194 watt hours per kilometer, or this amount of watt hours per mile. I've done an average of 101 kilometers per hour, which is exactly an average of 60 miles per hour. I've got 31% left on the battery, so I guess I could have charged a little bit less, but on the other hand, I don't want to arrive here in a place, and I think there's a charger here at the hotel, but I'm not 100% sure. I don't want to be here like on, I really have to charge, or I'll be screwed. So, good things about this car. I've done the trip, no problem whatsoever, and the charging time has been reasonable. Today we're driving the MG4 from Barcelona to Madrid. We're doing a road trip, 605 kilometers. Let's see how we get along with this 64 kilowatt hour battery. We're gonna have to do a few charging stops on the way. I'm Lars, and this is Totally Electric. So it's 9:30 in the morning, and I have planned to do 3 stops, or at least I have 3 possible stops, also because then I'll charge in 3 different charging networks, which will be, interesting. I'm coming up on my first charging station here. I have done so far 175 kilometers. I could go on, and I've got 37% left on the battery. According to a better route plan, I'm going to arrive at the charging station with 35%, so I must say that it's been quite accurate. So I'll just do whatever a better route planner says, and then I'll feel more comfortable about that. I guess I could drive for another hour. I don't feel like I need to stop, but the car does. So yeah, less than 200 kilometers between stops, which is of course also depending on where I actually find charging stations. If there was another one 50 kilometers or even 100 kilometers maybe further along, maybe the car could get there. It probably could. You gotta find the balance between where they are and how fast they charge. In Spain, where I live, there's not always 150 plus kilowatt charging stations everywhere. Many of them are still 50 kilowatt charging stations, at least on this route. So here's the worst part about driving this car by far, and that is the aircon or climate system. I've set it to 27 degrees Celsius, which is this many Fahrenheit, which is way hotter than you'd set any other car. Now I've also turned the fan speed down to 1, the lowest possible setting without turning it off. That is because if I put it on auto, I have fan speed any higher than that, it's just going to blow too strongly. It's very, very uncomfortable. And at the same time, if I set it to auto, or if I set the temperature any lower than 27 degrees, the air coming out is just like 12 degrees, and it's really, really uncomfortable. So it's really hard in this car to find a setting for the climate control system where you're actually comfortable. I'm having to adjust it up and down, you know, as the outside temperature changes. That is not good. So it's not immediately clear to me where the charger is, so I'm gonna have to look it up. So it's supposed to be over there. Okay, this is the one. Didn't quite spot it first. I got one over there from Circuitor, there's one from Endesa, and this one is from Thunder. So I guess I'll just use this one. Okay, let's check this out. I'm supposed to be able to charge with Thunder. Here we go, it's connecting. Let's see, it says it's 180 kilowatts. Very good, seems to be charging. All right, that was very easy and painless. I've charged for 20 minutes, a little bit more than I actually wanted to, but hey, between going up there, buying a bottle of water and stuff like that, a few minutes extra. I'm at 72% charge, which is plenty to reach my next destination. So let me get unplugged and let's go. So the first thing I notice now is that my aircon is now not capable of cooling down the car, because I've actually set it manually to 27 degrees and only 1 on my fan speed. So now I have to go in to the menu and set it back to auto, which is annoying to do this all the time. I mean, what's the point about having a climate system as opposed to an aircon system when you can't just set a temperature and let the car figure it out, right? So this is my second time in the MG4. The first time I had it about I don't know, almost a year ago when it first came out, and it was also a luxury 64 kilowatt hour version, and I had it for about a week. And I made a video in Spanish, or on the Spanish sister channel to this channel, about that car. And one of the things I complained about was that there was some noise. I don't know if it's wind noise or what it is, but it's like a high-pitched tone coming from seemingly from the back. Maybe it's the spoiler. This car has this divided spoiler. Maybe it's from there, I'm not quite sure. So this car has it as well. Same sound when you're doing more than 120 kilometers per hour, which is quite annoying. I'm going to take the microphone and hold it towards the back so that you guys can perhaps hear it as well. I'm now sure that since this is my second time in an MG4 and both of the cars had this problem, that this is something systematic about the car and it's not something particular about the one unit I had. So listen to this. First time I tried this car, the driver assistance features, the lane keep assist, was pretty terrible. In fact, it's so bad that the first thing the dealership told me when I picked up the car was how to turn the system off. Now, it has improved a lot. And actually, when you're going straight, it's very decent, it's very good. So now I'm doing 120, going straight, it keeps me perfectly in the line. When it gets too close to one line to another, it does correct, and it's quite stable, it's quite okay. I can tell that when it goes around curves, it's not great, and I do have to, you know, really pay attention and keep my hands on the wheels. And sometimes I do also have to like wrestle control from it a little bit. Not a lot, but just enough for it not to be super comfortable, but it has definitely improved. Sometimes when I'm in the rightmost lane and there's an off-ramp, which I won't do right now, then it'll try to take the off-ramp. Like it thinks the road is going that way, so you really have to pay attention because you want to definitely stay on the road you're on. But overall, it's improved, though still not perfect. We're arriving at the Tesla charging station. It's right here. It's a Supercharger. I think it's open. I didn't even check, but since I was routed here, I guess it's okay. So I've done 160 kilometers since my last stop, and I mean, it's a bit early to stop. I understand that. If you want to really do this without depending on stopping, perhaps you should go for the 77 kilowatt hour version of this car instead of the 64 kilowatt hour version of the car. I mean, stopping every 160 to 200 kilometers is okay. It's not perfect. I'd like to be able to do 250 to 300 between stops. But all right, let's go out, let's plug in and let's charge. Okay, so the good guys at MG has seen it fit to put the charging port on the back on the left, exactly like a Tesla, which makes it a lot easier to charge at a Supercharger. You go into the app, you just choose the right one and start charging. So I've tried to charge now in several different of the Supercharger posts here. This is a Supercharger version 2, but I get errors on the app saying that there's no car connected, and the car says that it can't communicate. So, no luck with the Supercharger. I guess I have to go to an Ionity station that's here next door. That's not good. So I was unable to charge at the Supercharger station, which surprises me. I thought that the MG4 could charge there perfectly well. The Supercharger was indeed open to other brands, but for some reason the MG4 never managed to connect to it, which is a shame, which means I now have to do 10 minutes the wrong way, charge, and then do, I'm going to lose half an hour plus on this. So now I'm charging at the Ionity charger. I knew it was going to work here because I've charged with this car here before. It's charging at more than 130 kilowatts, as you can see here, which is great. I'm at 12%. I need to get it up to, I don't know, 45, 50% at least. I might even do a little bit more. Thing is that there's nothing around here. This is a really boring place to have a charger. So I don't want to stick around too long either. Anyway, it worked. No big drama. It's just annoying. Very interesting. There's another MG4 right over there, and it seems to be plugged in and charging. So I wonder if I can charge here. If not, I have an Ionity charger just here ahead of me, so it will be absolutely fine. So surprise, surprise, it is actually charging. It is working. Fantastic. So if I'm looking at the app, I can see it's even charging at 145 kilowatts, which is the fastest charge rate I've seen on this entire trip. So it will work with the Supercharger, but for some reason it didn't when I was in Zaragoza, which is 100 kilometers east of here. So I don't know if it was the charger, if it was the car, if it was the position of the planet. Somehow it didn't work, but now it does. So I just changed over to the Ionity chargers because I got an error. So that wasn't cool. It suddenly said charging interrupted. For no apparent reason, it just interrupted the charging. And I don't know. I've charged for 10 minutes. I'm at 72%. More than enough to get me home. Let's get going. All right, we're done. I'm home. We've done 630 kilometers in total. I've been using 21.7 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. That's 217 watt hours per kilometer. And it's this many watt hours per mile. 630 kilometers, that's a long haul, but it went really well in this car, except for one little snafu with the Supercharger. All in all, I like driving this car. It feels great. It's a nice car to drive. I like that the battery is decent enough to travel with. I do not like the air conditioning. I do not like how it doesn't plan the route for me. And I'm so on the driver assistance features. So what do you think about the MG4 as a car for traveling? Please put a comment down below. Thank you very much for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please click the like button. If you want to watch some more of this kind of content, please subscribe. My name is Lars, and this is Totally Electric.